I actually do have one more answer. I'll keep it short though.
Oh yeah, go. Oh, I have one more too.
Oh yeah,
it's probably the same.
It's
go
probably.
ahead.
Should we say it on the count of three together? Let's see if we're.
All right, ready?
ready?
1, 2, 3.
For real. For real. For real. For real.
All right, welcome back to another episode. Welcome to the Briones Pickleball Podcast, the best and top podcast, pickleball podcast in the world here. If you are a player that loves pickleball, wants to improve their game, this is the podcast for you. By my side, I have our co-host, Caden Niemoff. Caden, what's going on, man?
That was a hell of an introduction right there, Jordan. That was really good.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a lot of talk about, there's several podcasts nowadays.
Yeah.
And they all think they're the best out there, but really,
Lay the law, lay the law down.
we're just saying it how it is. We have a lot to get to today. We're going to start off with our strategy tips, and we have a lot of really good stories for you, or a great story. And in the pro pickleball scene, there's a whole bunch of stuff that has happened.
Chaos.
Over,
chaos.
at Newport Beach PPA. So just really quick, I know you're listening and you may have time to listen to this whole episode. And if you don't, check out the timestamps below, because if you want to jump right into all the pro controversies and all that, that's towards the end. If you want to improve your game and learn about strategy, technique, and things like that, and improve your game, that we're going to do that in the beginning of the show. And we have a special surprise at the very end. So if you want to listen or watch this all the way through, you are
the best. You're the best.
You're the best.
You're the best.
And that's what we do here. So here we go. We're going to start off right with the strategy tip. Caden, mine. You want to start, you or me?
Go for it.
Okay. So mine's fairly simple today. And again, this is something all good players do not do. Okay. This is a do not tip.
Okay.
And that is specifically when dinking, but this also happens in other shots, but do not aim for the sidelines.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So obviously I coach a lot of people through the 2-day intensives and through other things. If you coach people all the time.
Yep.
One of the things that we see very, very often is we see players miss the ball wide, especially under dinks.
Yeah.
And obviously, once we get better and our accuracy gets better, we can definitely, target closer and closer to the line. But I always tell my students this: very, very rarely do we see pros miss wide dinks. Now, we see them hit into the net at times. We see them pop it up. But I almost never see dinks that are wide. What would you say about that, Caden?
I would actually 100% agree with that.
Oh, thank you.
Now, we do hit a lot of cross-court dinks, which could obviously put you, in a position to miss wide. And I guess, yes, I'm not saying it's impossible to do, but it's not something we do regularly. And I would say, for the most part, when we are dinking cross-court, we're not actually dinking for the sideline, but we're dinking pretty much for their left foot. Right? If it's backhand to backhand, you're going to dink for their left foot, which will look like their right foot for you. And if it's forehand to forehand, then you're going to dink to their right foot. That looks like their left foot for you. So we're never actually aiming for a sideline.
Yeah.
And I will say, when you guys do try or will try to hit the sideline, you guys will probably miss more times often than make.
Yeah.
Until, obviously, unless you're, a very good high-level pickleball player, where we all make mistakes. I make mistakes. Yeah. I've gone for the sideline and missed it. And even when I first started playing, when you are playing against better players, you feel the pressure of feeling like you have to hit a perfect shot. Yeah. It's not the case.
Yeah, that's true. So that's my tip, Caden. And again, I just think if players move their targets in, especially towards the sidelines, move them in a foot or two. Even Ben Johns himself, the best player in the game right now, he doesn't even aim for the sideline. So
True.
Should you be doing that? No. So that's just a strategy tip, and guarantee you, if you listen to that, you're going to actually find a lot more balls in the court. So
absolutely.
what would be your strategy tip, Kaden? Let's get to you.
Ooh, so mine is very simple, and most of you guys already know this, but I will say it's one thing that I hear. Let's say it's kind of like a pet peeve. I hear people say this or teach this incorrectly all the time.
Okay.
You are allowed to step into the kitchen whenever you like.
There you go. You can live.
You can live in there.
There you go.
The only thing you can't do in the kitchen is hit a ball in the air. All right? So I hear people say all the time, you can't step in the kitchen until the ball bounces.
Yeah.
Let's just break that down really quickly, okay? Do you guys know what that means? That means I literally cannot step into the kitchen until I've seen the ball bounce in the kitchen. And so...
Which is not true.
Yeah. Right? I can't tell you how many people, I see just hanging out behind the kitchen line, and then as soon as the ball bounces, they twitch towards the ball. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, wait for it.
Yeah.
You don't have to react to the ball that late. Just step in the kitchen. They're like, well, I have to let it bounce. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
So if you guys are ever caught at the kitchen line, standing behind the kitchen line until that ball is bounced, you guys can jump into the kitchen whenever you feel like. You're as free as a bird.
There you go. So, yeah, for those more beginner players out there, or maybe some intermediate players that have no idea about this rule, don't let the non-volley zone, and that's why, hence the term non-volley, you can't volley in that zone. Don't let that scare you from going in there. As soon as you see that short ball, immediately move. Obviously, if it's short, you're going to let that ball bounce. So immediately move, dink that ball, and then just get right back out, because obviously you don't want that ball sped up at you.
Right. I think the best example of that is when someone hits the net and it kind of just trickles over.
Yes,
I can't tell you how many people I see wait for the ball to bounce and then try and go and get that ball. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they ask me how do you get to that ball so quickly? I'm like, that's because I see it hitting the net and I'm already there before the ball's bounced.
Yep.
So
great, great strategy, learning, and kind of rule tip there.
Yeah.
Really, really good. We're going to hop right in to a story here.
Oh.
And then right after the story, we're going to answer some of your pickleball questions. So in a form below, if you want to send your questions in and get them answered on this podcast or maybe in a future YouTube video, go ahead and click the link below. But we're going to hop into this amazing story, and then we will get into... then we're going to actually get into some of your questions from the viewers.
Boom.
So this is something that I found online, little blog post here. And again, we're trying to accumulate some really good stories just to, there's nothing good better than a feel good pickleball story, or something that's really, really cool. So this is written by Sophie Cheesh, I think. I don't know how to say it, but I probably butchered it. But here we go. And the title here is Pickleball Saved My Life.
Oh.
Here we go. So not from literal death, but from a life where I would not have known the joys of being an athlete. Again, not a literal athlete, if that means I am training for the Olympics or I'm being paid to play, but an athlete in my own right from my own definition. I used to be 350 pounds. I have lost 200 of them. And by loss, I mean gone. I used to call my body a vehicle to transport my brain. Now I see my brain as an essential part of what my body is doing on the pickleball court. I've lived my whole life avoiding moving as much as possible. And I would immediately go back to my dwarfed experience of life, where movement was avoided at all costs. Until a July morning of 2021, the 29th to be precise, with the outside temperature of 109 degrees in our newly found home in the middle of Arizona. See, this is what I'm saying. I don't know where she lives, but shout out to Sophie. I walked onto the pickleball court for the first time. I never even heard of the word pickleball before. From the look of it, it looked like badminton and ping pong. And then I went out to try it. Every court had 4 players except one with only 2, I marched onto that one and asked them if they can teach us some rudimentary rules. Little did I know these were 2 of the presidents of the club, and 4.0 players finishing what I found out later is called a skinny singles game. We were lucky. They were kind. Well, they are Canadian, so kinder than most. Okay.
You didn't know that?
No. They gave us a tour of this mysterious sport I never heard of. I understood most of it. Scoring seemed unnecessarily complicated, but otherwise I get it. Send the ball to the other side of the net and get the opponent to not return the ball. No big deal. So I'm just going to hop down. There's more. So it says in the bottom here, she now plays every single day.
Wow.
Minus 6 days. Oh, when she had COVID. Okay. And yeah, so she plays every day. She cross trains to better her game. And that is, and again, that's Soph Cleach, I think,
Wow.
from Arizona.
Wow.
So that is, let's give it up for Sophie.
Yeah.
Huh?
Where you at, Sophie?
Yeah. I actually tried to find her. I'd love to have you on the podcast, Sophie, but this is super awesome. Obviously, we read a story like this a couple podcasts ago, but someone losing 100 pounds.
Yeah.
This is losing over 200, and that is pretty remarkable when you think about it in any form or fashion.
Pickleball does that to people, man. I feel like once people start, they don't want to stop, and then they realize that, oh, maybe I'm not in the best shape.
Yeah.
I want to get in good shape so I can play this, as well as I possibly could, and it really does kind of motivate people to get in shape so they can be the best versions of themselves. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, Sophie is a prime example of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so super awesome. And again, a lot of this, even with the last story that we read about people getting healthy with pickleball, it's not even like they're trying to lose a whole bunch of weight.
No.
It just happens because they just love the game.
And then they go above and beyond, and they start doing CrossFit training, they start doing yoga, they start doing Pilates. It's a chain reaction when it comes to pickleball.
So maybe pickleball, the gateway to better health?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That'd be a good title, huh?
Yeah.
So
that is really good, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
So really, really good, Sophie. Now we're going to hop into some pickleball questions from the viewers. So these are questions that are actually being sent in, and we are going to go over them now.
Right now.
All right. So number 1, this is from Anonymous here. Remember, if you're sending in your questions, please include your name, maybe where you're from. That gives us a better context. And if your age, if you want, and maybe some of your background, whatever, any of that helps, because then we can kind of break that down. Okay, question from listener and viewer. If your return of serve or another shot is too short and your partner is at the net, should you alert them that it is so short? Should they move back as far as they can before the opponents hit their shot and then split step? And how should you alert them? So I'm just going to read this another way. I think what they're saying is, let's say you're up there at the net, Caden.
Yeah.
Serve is coming to me.
Yeah.
I'm playing with you. I return the ball. I know my ball's super short. What should I do? What should you do? How do you handle that situation?
Yeah, so there are a few rules before we even talk about, the person who hit the ball short. Before I even get to the communication part, as the returning team, if I'm not returning, I am going to be watching every move my partner makes as they're returning the ball. So I see where they're positioned, where their body weight is,
Really good.
where, their paddle is, all of it, right? And then on top of that, I can see also where they're returning the ball, right? So before my partner even needs to communicate anything,
Yes.
if you guys are not the ones returning, you guys should be watching your partner.
Yes, and we talked about that on a slow-mo
breakdown, yeah.
breakdowns.
Mm-hmm.
In my past intensive this week, that was one of the things. One guy in particular would just have a habit of not watching the returner, and then the return would go by, then he would have to react. So what you're saying on that, which is really, really crucial, is watching the return off of your partner's paddle.
Yeah.
Because then we can see trajectory, we can see kind of their body position, if they're leaning back, if they're kind of stepping into the shot. So
yeah. Well, and watching that allows kind of your partner to also feel a little bit more trust, because now they're saying, okay, well, my partner knows exactly what's going on. I just hit the worst return of my life, but guess what? He sees it or she sees it, and they know what's coming. So now let's say my partner doesn't look at me, while I return. That's fine. No big deal. I will typically, let my partner know. I'll just say short. And of course, before the match, I'll remind him that when I say short, I'm talking about the ball, not myself. I'm 5'9", guys. Okay, I'm not that short. I just made a short joke for myself. I don't know why I set myself up like that. But the point is, partner communication goes a long way.
Yeah.
So you guys don't need to say full sentences, but you guys can have little keywords that, you guys can use to help each other out on the court.
Yeah. I say like watch it.
Yeah,
something.
watch,
I'll say
short,
something. Yeah.
whatever floats your guys' boats. But partner communication goes a long way in pickleball. And I mean, for the most part, as a player, I watch so much of my partner, and I watch every move they make, so we really don't ever have to communicate, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't.
That's really good. So again, if you are that person at the net, though, what do? You see it short.
Yep.
And now what?
So if my partner does happen to hit a short return, personally for me, I'm staying right up at that kitchen line, because I'm expecting a full-blown drive, probably right at my belly button or right at my chest, which personally I can handle. But let's say you can't. If you can't, no, you're not going to run away. You're not going to back up as far as you can. I would typically say take one step or maybe 2 steps off the kitchen line to give yourself a little bit more space and a little bit more time. And then your goal is to now punch volley or block volley. But I will say, I personally like to stay up at that line because it gives them, or it's a higher part of my body that I'm going to get, where I'm going to see a ball, compared to if I back up, I might see a ball that's a little bit lower. So there's give and take with a lot of things, right?
I like you said that. Yeah, give and take. And again, when you get short returns like that, I would say the majority of the time that serving team should be hitting the ball at the returner. Yep. But the person at the net, you have to be ready. So totally agree with Caden there. It depends. It's very situational. For me, I may stay up. If I need a little bit more reaction time and I know that person has a great drive, I might take that step or 2 back. But this question said, they were asking, should you move as far as back as you can before the opponent drives the ball and then split step? So yeah, your answer is really, really close. I would definitely take a step or 2, take as many steps as you can that you need to handle that ball. And then the biggest thing is, obviously we don't want to be moving back as that ball is being driven. Right. We want to take a quick step back and split. So
you guys definitely don't need to move back any farther than the transition zone. You guys only really need 1 or 2 steps. If you guys really need 3 steps, then sure, go for it.
Well, but it's all about time. Like, you're not going to have time to run to the baseline. You know? So really, really good. But watch your partner always return the ball from there. Then that kind of helps in the communication. You know the ball is going to be short because you're watching out their paddle. Yeah. And then obviously practice your volleys. And just get ready, just being prepared. As soon as I see the short ball, I am in defensive mode. Mm-hmm. I'm not typically on the offense there. I know that they're going to drive it, so I know I need to hit a good counter volley or block volley. So really, really good. Second question here from Arthur H.
Oh, Arthur.
Mr. Arthur, thank you. How do you deal with aggressive poachers, poachers that just are all over the court and they're running in front of their partner? How do you deal and play against and beat those players or teams? Really great question. I have a lot of thoughts. Caden,
I do too.
Caden, do you want us? Well, and again, we don't have to get super.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we go back and forth? Okay. We'll both say one answer at a time until we run out of them.
Okay, so dealing with aggressive poachers. Number 1, and there's a lot of tips here, And again, you all have dealt with this, right? Especially if you play tournaments, but even if you haven't, there are very aggressive players, and if they're beating you up and eating you up, then we're going to have to do something strategically to try to mitigate that, to try to slow that down. So my number one thing would be right off the return. Okay, so if you're returning the ball, and you actually want to return it for the most part to that poacher. One of the things that we see a lot is a drive and drop combo where one person would, like, let's say this poacher, this guy or girl or lady that is just doing a really good job of being aggressive and offensive. We see their partner driving the ball and then that person clogging middle and then poaching. So
yeah,
it's definitely, I think a good play or something to try would be return to the poacher, whoever you think is really, really offensive and aggressive. Then that at least keeps them back for that one shot, and then hopefully you can work the point from there.
Yeah.
But that's my first tip. There's multiple, but
that was great. That is absolutely the first tip.
Okay.
First tip. That
All
was
right.
great. Second tip would be practice your punch volleys. So
I like it.
the reason why we practice the punch volleys is, I think for the most part, people think they're punching for when people are speeding up or for, people are trying to hit the ball hard. And you got to remember that for the people who are poaching, most of the time they're poaching off of someone's drive, right? They want something to be popped up, right? Now, obviously you see it on the drop every now and then, but I'll be honest, it's usually more on the drive when people are forcing pace on you and then someone's kind of crashing and then coming into the middle of the court hoping that you're not going to be able to control your volley. So if you guys are, finding that someone is poaching on you a lot because maybe you can't control the third shot drive that was hit at you guys, practice those punch volleys and work on punching that ball through so that ball stays low.
Yeah.
Which it'll either make the poacher's life a little bit harder because they might have a lower ball with a little bit more pace. But what you'll also find is if they don't get the pop-up, they're probably not going to poach because they're going, I can't poach on that. Or maybe, who knows, they'll still go for it and they'll make a bad decision.
Exactly. So really good, Caden. Again, on that, it's super important that we're practicing our volleys just in general.
Yep.
But here's one, I want to add to that.
Yeah.
Here's one huge mistake against poachers or against players that bang and just like to drive it. If you're constantly driving the ball and you're trying to, I see players, we need to slow it down. So they end up trying to block.
Yeah.
But then that ball sits up.
Yep.
And then it gets killed.
Yep.
So against poachers and against bangers, I would actually encourage you to do what Caden said and punch those balls out. Like as what I mean by counter them. Counter those volleys out. Don't try to just block it in because unless you have that skill, but I mean 9 out of 10 times I see players try to slow the ball down. They don't have the skill to absorb all that pace. And sometimes it's hard with really fast drives. It's hard to absorb the pace. So it's easier to just punch it out. So.
I have a funny story about a lady who, when I told her that, she lost her mind and got mad at me for telling her that one time.
To not punch the ball out?
Well, I told her, I was like, hey, she was like, oh, well, I play against these tennis girls at my club. This is while I was still living in the Bay. But she was like, yeah, I could play against these tennis girls and all they do is hit the ball hard. Like, I want to learn how to beat them. And I'm like, okay, well, you have to practice your punch volleys. And she's like, well, why would I hit the ball hard at them when they're hitting the ball hard at me? And that just makes no sense. Now I'm playing into their game. And I'm like, well, if you punch the ball and you're able to keep it low, they can't actually hit the ball hard with a hard shot at their feet.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, my husband said that I should just stick my paddle out and slow the ball down. And I was like, well, your husband takes lessons from me, so I don't know why he's trying to give you tips right now. And I was like, finally, I was just like, whatever, man. I was like, you know what? You want to win this battle? You've won it.
Well, yeah, we get questions. I mean, I get that all the time. But again, learning the skill of resetting and blocking, but also I think the more important skill is learning how to counter. So
for sure.
Super, super important. Really, really good there.
I actually do have one more answer. I'll keep it short though.
Oh yeah, go. Oh, I have one more too.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the same.
It's
Go ahead.
probably. Should we say it on the count of 3 together? Let's see if we're.
All right. So
right.
third answer of how to beat poachers. Ready?
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Go behind them. Yep.
Oh my goodness. See, we don't even plan stuff.
No,
You know?
no, this was not planned, guys. We literally did that because we're on the same wavelength.
Okay. So let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
this is something super important. Now, again, we deal with poachers from that third shot drive, but now it still could be that, but now up at the kitchen line, right? Where, people are really, really aggressive, covering middle, the likes of a Ben Johns or somebody that it doesn't even have to be that at any level. There's sometimes people taking the middle of the court, putting so much pressure. Do not be afraid to dink to their sideline, not
true.
on the sideline, but towards their sideline.
Yeah.
And that's what we mean by going behind them. You can expand on that if you want, Kaden.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way. If someone's going from the right to the left, just think about hitting a ball to the right instead of to the person who's back on the left. So we all know that, if someone's back, the whole goal is to keep them back, right? But what happens is when poachers realize that maybe their partners take a little bit longer to get up to the kitchen line, or maybe, they're focusing on the shot and then coming up to the kitchen line, that's what gives them opportunities to poach.
Yeah.
So going behind them is great because if you see someone kind of overcommitting, maybe a little bit too early, all you have to do is poke a ball to where they're usually playing the ball, and you should be in pretty good shape. And I will say it's probably one of the more satisfying shots in pickleball when someone kind of exposes a poacher.
Yeah. So again, don't be afraid to dink towards your sideline. And again, if poachers, the way that they poach is they poach middle balls. So whether they're coming from the left or from the right, I just want everyone to think about that. They're clogging middle. So if they're doing that, send that dink or send that counter volley or send the ball to their side to keep them away, and it will keep them honest, right? And that's the thing. What we mean about that is like, the more you can do that, the more they're gonna have to scoot back over to their side, and it's just a really good skill to develop.
Dude, how cool is that? We totally just.
I had a 80%.
No, I did too. I mean,
I was like, I think
we both teach pretty similarly, and I mean, we both. Yeah, I mean that was cool. Nonetheless,
that was good. Okay, so let's see here. We are going to just read one more story from the UK.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is just.
I'd love to go to the UK.
This is just like I don't know. This is just like people who watch this podcast. They are faithful listeners, so we just appreciate everyone. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend if you think this is great information. This one says, hello.
Like that? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Okay.
I am writing from the UK. My name is Michael de Groot, a Dutchman living in the UK. I'm also a podcaster.
Oh,
and I was interviewing Clinton Young in May 2022, and he mentioned pickleball. I don't know who that is. Clinton is a speaker and founder of Pickleball for Life. Oh, in San Diego. Okay.
Huh. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know him?
I think I know the Pickleball for Life brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had never heard of the word pickleball, so started searching, looking at videos. To make a long story short, I got in touch with Pickleball England, who supported me in running in my first Taster session. I don't know what that is.
Taster?
Yeah.
Can't say I do either.
Okay. And remember, I had to learn too. Fast forward now, I am a IPTPA level 1 coach, county rep, Worcester. You know that. I think that's the name. I think I said that right. For Pickleball England.
I hope you did.
And organize and run 3 hours of weekly pickleball for around 50 to 60 of our retired and semi-retired community here in Wire Forest in Worcester. Okay.
I think I know what you're trying to say.
Okay. All right.
I'm not going to fix you because I'll probably mess it up too.
It's continuing to grow, and now I am promoting pickleball all across the country here in the UK, running tasters and doing some coaching. See, if you know what running taster is.
Should I look it up real quick?
Sure. Just let us know in the comments before Kaden says something. But it's early days here. We only have 5,000 people playing regularly across the UK. So we have a long way to catch up for the with the USA. Our goal is to have 25,000 UK players by 2025. Wish us luck. So Michael D. Groot, thank you for that submission. Shout out to all the pickleball players in the UK. Make sure that you subscribe and follow this podcast. What is a running taster, by the way? Kaden?
I got nothing.
Okay, maybe it's just
spell taster?
Tast, like T-A-S-T-E-R.
Yeah, I looked that up, and all I got was how to be a professional taster.
Okay.
But
you know what? So comment below if you know what that is. Maybe it's just a little lingo, UK lingo there.
It sounds like this guy also caught the bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, really cool. So UK. So there's 5,000 players in the UK. That's not bad.
That's not bad
that's
at all.
a lot of people.
It started out like that in the United States too, and look at it now.
Yeah.
There's more pickleball players in the US than there are golfers.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Michael. Thank you for
Keep
that.
growing the sport.
Thank you for that. Keep growing it. Now, we're just gonna go. You know what? I would do you a disservice. Today, if I didn't just promote the 2-day intensive.
Okay.
I mean, we got to do that. Again, if you're trying to improve your game, you've heard us talk about this before. I run these 2-day intensive experiences where a lot of people from across the country fly out to me, and I work with a 4-to-1 ratio. So just four players, 4 students, the same.
A lot of instruction.
The same skill level. And I'm just gonna read just a review from a couple intensives ago. All right, this is from Steve Scott from Carmichael, California. Shout out to Steve, thank you. I have been to many camps and a lot of lessons and different training programs and learned different techniques over the last 2 years. And when they were over there, what is this? Okay, and when I was there was nothing to reference to continue my improvement. This has all changed now. This 2-day intensive with Jordan was very informative and I received personal help every step of the way and great instruction. Jordan is very good at communicating the topic of each drill, talking strategy, and spending time to get it right and correct the things that I need correction for. Jordan takes the time to build a video reference for each of the 4 of us, and this intensive training is such a great idea and so very helpful. I've never seen myself on video, and now this gives me a path for improvement. Now I have a personal coach that I can contact and receive personal support, and I am on my improvement path journey. This was the very best training experience I've ever experienced. Steve Scott from Carmichael. Thank you, Steve.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And again, what's really cool. So just to let everyone know, I've ran 13 of these now. So, we're still in the beginning phases.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it's a really great experience. And one cool thing, it's kind of like, if you ever sign up for this 2-day intensive, there's a link below. Go ahead and check that out. But these people, I spend a full 2 days with them.
Yeah.
We go out to dinner. We get to know each other, and we do a lot of instruction, and we do things after. I really get to know them, and they're like, it's just really cool because they're like really good friends.
Yeah.
Friend-coach dynamic.
Right.
By the end. So if you're in that intensive,
it's worth it, guys. It's definitely worth it. If you guys have the time, you guys should definitely jump on it. There's nothing else like it, I'll be honest.
Yeah. And so thank you, Steve Scott from Carmichael. And again, if you do not have the means to travel, Caden here is going all across the country. You're actually going to be in South Carolina, right?
I will be. I'll be in South Carolina. Well, so yes. Yeah. So I'll be in North Carolina. I'll be playing in the PPA North Carolina Open. And then I think I'm Ubering down to South Carolina.
A long Uber, dude.
It is a long, it's only like 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
It's not terrible. I've done it before.
Okay.
I'll be teaching out there the 8th and the 9th, and then I actually will be flying to Cincinnati the next day and playing in the APP Cincinnati Open.
Okay, so we're going to follow Caden on his pro journey. But that being said, if you have a large group or a club or something like that, Caden would love to come out, give you top level, high level instruction. So also in the description below, check that out. There's a form you could fill out to send Caden to your local.
I'll go anywhere, man. I want to see the world.
Yeah.
Just don't send me to Florida.
He may still take Florida.
I mean, I still might, but Florida, if it's mosquito season, maybe
indoor.
Indoor would be fine.
Okay.
I'm good with indoor.
All right. He's not a fan of the mosquitoes.
No, we don't get along. That's like the one thing I don't get along with.
Yeah. So there's a form below. Fill it out if you'd like Caden to come to your local local club to teach a pickleball camp or clinic. Go ahead and fill that out. Now we are gonna jump right in to a segue where we thank Selkirk to be for being our sponsor. Thank you, Selkirk.
What?
Shout out to Selkirk. There's
Selkirk.
also a
Best in the game.
yeah. There's also a link below where you can purchase Selkirk stuff. So check that out.
If you guys like powerful paddles, Power Air.
Yeah. Well, and we're gonna talk more about paddles on another episode. Maybe we're gonna do a paddle review. If you guys want to see a Selkirk paddle review and other paddle reviews, why don't you leave a comment below?
Oh yeah.
Now we're gonna hop into the madness here. We're gonna get to the pro pickleball talk scene. There's a whole bunch of stuff now. Newport double shootout is that what I believe it's called?
Bingo, you're spot on.
PPA Newport double shootout. Very interesting. I don't remember many PPA events where there's not singles.
So PPA's actually done this tournament
Couple
twice.
times. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I played in both, but
Okay.
they actually didn't do it last year, but they did it the year before.
Got it. Okay.
And they brought it back this year.
So Caden played there.
I did.
In the pro division. Were you guys in the main draw?
We were.
Okay. So we'll talk about Caden's stuff later down the podcast, but there's a lot to bring up. There's a lot. There's a lot. We're just gonna jump right in. We're gonna jump to the results a lot later on, and a lot of moving parts. But
yeah,
to start off here, I mean, I don't know how to transition into this, and there's just a lot to talk about. But finger finds here. Okay, so this is Pablo Tellez. And for the most part, I haven't met the guy in person yet.
He's actually a nice guy.
Yeah, I just every time I see him, he looks like a great guy.
He's a tennis player though. I mean, he's got that fire in him.
You're right. But again, there was some bickering out from the stands out there. And then you can see here, this is his apology, but we're gonna get to what he did. It was a very heated match. A lot of emotions on both sides. I apologize to everyone. I should not have reacted the way I did, and I would do better in the future. So that's from Pablo Tellez. I think at the end here, I don't have a video, but he put some fingers up that weren't really widely accepted, and
which is crazy because everybody accepts it when you're on the road. But
so specifically that middle finger, he kind of pointed it towards some haters or some players that were bickering, or
were they haters or were they
hecklers?
Motivators.
Yeah.
I mean, he won the match.
Yeah, they did, and I think that's what fired him up. But so this is the first fine with player and what is it called? Interaction with the fans. So,
yeah, for sure.
The first fine that we saw was DJ Young. That CRBN paddle flying 12 feet up in the air in the stands.
Yeah.
This is, I think, the second fine.
No, it wasn't a paddle toss, but yes.
Yeah. And again, so what I did, I don't know the things that were said. There's a lot of rumors out there. I'm not going to say any because I'm not sure. But whatever was happening, I know it was pretty excessive. It was kind of during points, I believe. And then him and Federico Stacksrud pulled the win out against, I think it was Tyson McGuffin and was it
James Ignatowicz?
James Ignatowicz.
Yeah.
So huge win, by the way. And he was just this is him. So you're gonna talk. I'm gonna win. So
That's right.
what are your again? Leave comments below. What do you think about this kind of like? What do you think about hecklers in pickleball? Now, there's different sides to this, Caden. What side are you on? Because I have some lines and some thoughts, but like I want to get your feedback first. Everyone's saying, oh, this shouldn't be like tennis. Well, I don't think it should be like the UFC either.
Yeah, right.
So like where's your line? What do you think PPA should do, and where would you like to see professional pickleball go? In what route?
Well, it's tricky, right? Like, you watch other sports. There's obviously lines to other sports.
Yeah.
But I think as a player, I mean, that's kind of something that, if someone is kind of making that noise, I would never be the type to get angry by it. Because personally, I'm a baseball player, so I love heckling. I love it. It just fires me up. But I will say there are times where it's excessive. Right? Like, obviously, if people are talking in the middle of your points and they're saying, things to kind of throw you off, it's not something that I would try, let personally bother me. But it definitely, if it were to, I would have probably handled it a little bit differently. Right. So I can't say I'm on Pablo's side. I can't say I'm on the fan side. I definitely can't say I'm on the fan side. But personally, I think there's a lot of different things that could have gone differently. Yeah. And if it did, I think obviously this wouldn't be as big of a headline. But personally, as a fan, if you guys are heckling players on the court, what are you doing? This is a sport that should be fun. This is a sport that should be uplifting and outgoing, and that's why I love it so much. But when you have, drunk fans who are just screaming messed up things to kind of throw you off your game, that's where I'm kind of like, okay, what's going on here, right? You watch a baseball game and you see an intoxicated fan heckling a baseball player. The baseball player can get him kicked out of the stadium in a matter of seconds, right?
So I'm glad you brought that up. So here's my take here.
Yeah.
So Dane Gingrich, shout out to Dane. But he mentioned something, his posts are a little out there sometimes, but he basically just mentioned like, well, as a professional athlete, you should be able to drown everything out. So I understand. I agree, but we do need to come up. I think there just has to be, just like the paddle delamination, paddle testing rules, which we're still working through. And because the PPA still has to learn how to regulate and do this, I think this is a place for this to grow too and figure out where's the line. So I don't know if I can agree with one or the other. I would say, I just think we just need to come up with a line for the sport and then figure out where that goes from there. But just like you said, in baseball games and other things, and obviously tennis, we don't have to compare it to tennis, but if it's like actually maybe like during points and trying to mess you up, I think players in the crowd should get warnings. I think just like the players, and I think the ref should be allowed to do that, and maybe security could get involved if it's like a second warning,
sure.
or third, you're out or something like that.
Right.
But obviously we're not. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think.
But that also means we're hiring security. You know what I mean?
Well, there's usually security in these events.
In the facilities, yes.
Yeah, in the facilities.
Yeah, right.
So, but either way, I just think that we have to decide what the line is, and not as in we. I don't know. Maybe the players.
Actually, I think the volunteers would be the people that would have to get rid of them.
Yeah. So. I don't know, but that's what happens when you have drinking involved and things like that. It gets really, really tough, but definitely there's got to be some sort of line that we're going to, we're gonna cross at some point. And hey, if you're gonna let everything go, then I guess that's if that were the case, then just let everything go, and it's just gonna be loud and crazy like a hockey game. But I don't think that. Personally, I wouldn't really want to see it go that extreme, that route, just because I just think that would take some out of the game. And everyone says to me like, "Oh, we shouldn't. It's not tennis.
It's not tennis. We shouldn't make it like tennis."
So tennis is just so like so soft and stuff.
Yeah.
But because of the sport, it's very similar to tennis. Like where the point builds and this tension builds, and then there's a eruption at the end of the point. Like there's something to be said there about that kind of, you know what I mean? That kind of like atmosphere. And it makes it really fun. And then if you have just like people yelling stuff, and it kind of just takes away from that. And again, if that's the way we're gonna go, then I understand. But I don't know. I like the tension building, quietness, oohs and ahs here and there, but not purposeful.
Yeah, right.
Like,
well, I think that's also what makes MLP so awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is like it is a different environment for fans because it's not like just your normal tournament.
Exactly.
So I think, you can establish that, maybe the PPA and APP do kind of enforce something more like tennis, and then MLP says, hey, we want it rowdy, we want it loud, and so you can go to the specific type of experience you're looking for, you know what I mean? So what it does, though, is it opens up ways for people to say, okay, well, hey, like, I want to heckle. I want to go out there and I want to make noise, so I'm going to go watch MLP.
Yeah.
And then there are people who are like, oh, well, I just want to go watch some really good pickleball.
Yeah, yeah.
And they say, okay, well, then I'll go watch, a PPA tournament or an APP tournament. You just got to have variety.
There you go.
You know what I mean? You can't just have everything be the same, or it's just, because that's the problem with sports. Everybody's got a different opinion on everything. So you give options now that are actually realistic, and guarantee you it'll probably work out.
Yeah, there you go. So I just think there's growth to be.
Don't heckle though, guys. Don't heckle. Don't heckle unless it's allowed. Yeah. Don't heckle. Don't talk down to players. I'm sure whoever was heckling Pablo this weekend, I guarantee you, if you were heckling him on the court, he would fold and break down. So if you are heckling on the court, be better. Don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens with that. And then again, it's a growing sport, so we're gonna have to see. Next, we have Sarah Ansbury and Jill Braverman played women's doubles together. They actually did really well, and I saw that they beat, was it Elise Jones? And I'm pretty sure it was. But
it might have. Lauren Stratman and Yana beat them first.
Okay, but I'm pretty so Sarah Ansbury is she's been part of the game a long time, pro division. There was definitely a lot of controversies here, and a lot of people thought that originally that so with the whole paddle challenge thing, I think they're still trying to figure out. Now there's on-site testing for...
Well, this was the first tournament that had it.
Yes, for paddles. And I don't know how much you heard there, Caden, but there's paddles now being tested before matches, after matches. And still, I'm pretty sure you can choose to challenge or not choose to challenge. But I don't know if that rule is still there. But if you choose a challenge and you come out wrong, do you lose? Have you heard about that?
Well, if you lose the challenge, you're fined.
It's just absolutely...
That's crazy.
I just think it's ridiculous, and it just will... no one would want to challenge. But here's what happened. Sarah Ansbury, Jill Braverman, they had their paddles tested before the match.
Yep.
And it was within legal limits. Now, what we found out later was that Sarah was informed that it was very close to the limit line. So here we go. This is coming from Carl Smits, the USA Pickleball Managing Director of Pickleball Standards. So this is the guy that leads the professional industry.
This guy's legit.
And this is what happened. As is our protocol, Sarah was informed before the quarterfinal that her paddle's core and surface bonding had deteriorated considerably over the course of the tournament. She received an official warning with the current manufacturing standards. Her paddle had a high likelihood of crossing the legal threshold during the next match, and that it would be in her best interest to retire that paddle. We can only recommend the best practices. However, the final decision lands in the hands of the player.
Interesting.
So if this is, and I'm pretty sure this is true because this is coming from Carl Smits himself, but so it's they test the paddles in the beginning, and they're already giving Sarah a warning that this particular one that you've been using in other previous matches is getting really close. I don't know why. Like, if that was me, I don't know why I would not continue to play with that paddle. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but I mean, you also have to realize that, like, she's probably been playing with that paddle for the last month or so, right? And so,
yeah,
I mean, for you and me, maybe it doesn't take that long to just, adjust to a new paddle of the same paddle, but for her, maybe it's, something that she...
Well, yeah, the feel...
No,
paddles break in.
Yeah.
And here's the problem with the manufacturing and everything. Here's where it gets tricky. So, but again, if I'm at a tournament, I guess you took the risk. I guess it's not that crazy. But so after the match, they won, and then the opposing team actually challenged it.
Yeah.
And then it lost, and
Yeah.
then they got ousted from the tournament. And Sarah's response and Jill's response, you can see on Instagram or whatever. I saw a video somewhere on Facebook or something.
Yeah, I saw it on
basically
Instagram.
said, this is unfortunate, but basically, we support the USAPA or whatever. So really interesting response. I don't know if that was just to keep things, if they
Keep the
really
heat off.
really thought that way. But again, I would say, I guarantee you, if someone, pro players, paddles close, I don't think they're going to be using it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting it tested and they're saying, oh, it's pretty close, I probably wouldn't play it. I'm just going, well, that sucks. Okay, I guess.
Here's so interesting. It's just, this sport has so much to grow in this paddle testing. I know that they're getting better and better in it. These are pro players, so they can have 10 paddles there.
Yeah, right.
So what I would do is, and then going into the tournament, I would have 5 paddles that I've been playing with that feel good.
Not a terrible idea.
Maybe I test all 5 and then see which one is the furthest from the limit and play with that one. You know what I mean? Like, if anything,
not a terrible idea.
That's what you're going to have to do. But
I mean, I don't love the idea of playing with 5 different paddles all the time.
No.
But I mean, hey, if that's what's keeping you under legal limit, then I guess that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then there's another notion of, okay, and there was by the way, there was multiple paddles that tested over the legal limit, but they just didn't get challenged. That's really interesting. So because players are afraid, I mean, why not just challenge every single thing? Because players are getting fined now. So it's kind of like, it's just a ridiculous kind of, I don't know how they're going to, one day there's going to be a podcast coming out that we're not going to talk about the legality of paddles.
Yeah,
and,
maybe. It might be in 16 years. Who knows?
For all those recreational players out there, this doesn't matter to you.
It really doesn't.
Just go out there, play your game, but we're just trying to inform you of this craziness that's happening on the pro tour. So
if you guys aren't a pro right now, just use whatever paddle you guys feel like playing.
Yeah. And then, so moving on from that, we're actually going to stay on the topic of paddles, but in a different note or different way. Salome Device, she was actually challenged. Her legality of her paddle was challenged from the previous tournament because she was hitting rockets. It really seemed like rockets when I was watching, but it came back negative, like negative as in it was a legal paddle.
It was good.
So it must have been the 4 extra ounces that she put on as lead tape.
Something like that, man. She was hitting piss missiles. But I mean, hey, that's just what she's got in the bag, man.
Yeah.
I mean, smokes.
So Salome, I'm glad your test results came out negative.
I know.
And that's something. That is something. So very, very interesting. We'll see and keep you guys updated and gals updated on that. Now let's get to, where are we going here? We're going to go get to some huge upsets. Okay. So
a lot of crazy things that happened.
So actually, Kaden, while I'm pulling this up, you were there,
I was.
okay, and you were there here at the Newport PPA. Why don't you tell us just how the atmosphere, tell us about the tournament. I know you've been there.
Yep.
If you haven't been to Newport Beach, it's a really nice area and a really great venue. So why don't you just tell us, kind of like, give us a little background of the tournament, and then we'll talk about the upset alerts coming up.
Yeah, so the tournament was at the Newport Beach Tennis and Pickleball Center. I have been there multiple times before, and of course, when I saw that there was a tournament in Newport, I said, well, I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to go to beautiful Newport Beach, California.
Yeah.
But I will say the venue there, they have really nice courts. The only thing that's pretty obnoxious is they don't have blockers in between courts.
Wow.
So you get a lot of balls on.
A lot of balls
Yeah.
coming on the court now.
Yeah, while you're playing, and it's a pretty infuriating sometimes,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, sometimes the refs don't call it, so you're able to kind of just play the point out. The venue itself, obviously, it's beautiful weather. It's got good parking, except for the fact that maybe they weren't quite prepared to host over 700 people this weekend. So parking was kind of a nightmare, but besides that, everything was pretty smooth running. It was it's pretty compact. They have like little rows that people are allowed to walk by, and it doesn't help when people are just like standing in those rows to watch. And then when you're trying to walk through, it's a little tough to get through every now and then. And of course, they have vendors going down that row too. So there's not a whole lot of walking and standing space. But besides that, there's no such thing as a bad time in Newport Beach, man. I would say I had a pretty good weekend out there. I got to stay in an Airbnb with my GM of the Scottsdale Scorchers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he rented out a house for kind of like the Arizona Pickleball League crew. So it was me, Brad, his buddy Joey, his daughter Maddie, and her friend Sam. And then pickleball players, it was me, Pessa, Craig Johnson, Nico Montoya, Michael Lloyd.
Wait, there was that many? You stayed with all of them?
Oh, heck yeah, man. And we stayed in an Airbnb like right next to the beach. So we
didn't have it bad, huh?
No, it was a fun weekend.
Nice.
It was too short though. I should have gone sooner.
Yeah.
I left on Friday. I should have been there.
Okay.
All week.
Well, that's the Newport here. We're gonna go right into.
Ooh.
We're gonna start here with men's doubles, and then we're gonna go over mixed, and then we will go over women's doubles. Okay. So
It was a pretty wild weekend this weekend.
yeah. So Ben Johns was here. Anna Lee wasn't here.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we had a lot of different mixings. And yeah, so here we go. We're going to start off here. Man, it did not work, but right here, we're going to start off with men. Shout out to J-Dub and Dylan Frazier.
Yeah.
We got that for gold, PPA gold. So is this their second?
This is their second. But
PPA
this is the
gold.
first time they've beaten Matt and Riley.
Matt and Riley Newman. Okay.
Yeah.
So Dylan Frazier, J.W. Johnson for gold. I guess, Riley and Matt Wright for the silver. And Federico Stackstrud and Pablo Tellez for bronze. Really, really good. Remember, we already talked about that. This was that close one. Stackstrud and Tellez defeated Ignatowicz McGuffin 11-9 in the third. And they got beat pretty handily by Newman and Wright. And you know what? There wasn't any big upsets except Ben Johns and Colin Johns in the second round. So this is a big one. They get ousted by Ben Newell and Philip Locklear.
Yeah.
Those are the I think they're from where are they from?
Kansas.
Okay, so they're from Kansas. Now, I watched the match. Huge upset, right? So lefty and righty, Ben Newell, I played him in singles. I actually have a video of me dissecting my game against him. He beat me 15-10. was fairly close, but he's a good player. He's been playing a while now. But what did you see out of the match, Caden? Obviously, the John brothers losing to a team like this. Not saying that they are a bad team, but this is pretty uncalled for.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think it kind of came out of nowhere, but honestly, one, Ben, super duper good. I would say Ben's probably one of the better lefties on the tour. Kind of has a goofy style of playing, but it works for him. He's got good drives. And
drives.
Philip Locklear, not a guy that I knew of until this weekend, but this guy, I mean, he kind of just looks like a beast. You know what I mean? But he has really good speed ups. He actually had pretty good dinks. And I think in the situation where you're playing against a guy like Ben and Colin, where you can't just sit in the points and say, hey, okay, let me see if they'll miss a dink. They're not going to miss a dink. So you kind of have to attack them at a bunch of different areas that maybe they're not used to seeing.
Yes.
And
so Caden, you and I talked about this on the car ride, but if you're going to take out the Johns brothers in an upset where first, second round and they're not, really warm or that interested or whatever, you're going to go out swinging. And that's exactly what we saw. Ben was driving a lot of thirds. Philip was cleaning up and vice versa, right? So, 9 out of 10 times, I say if they play 9 more times, I think Ben and Colin take that with ease.
For sure.
But this was a huge upset. And again, the Johns brothers are kind of known for that slower start, slower. And look at, you can kind of see they were lackadaisical here. On the first match was like 11-1, 11-1. I don't know who they are, but they probably, breezing through. And again, because it's 2 games to 11, you lose the first one in a close one. That second one creeps up on you. And about body language, and I can see it. I've watched and studied the Johns brothers enough. This kind of match was their match to lose. Yeah. Because these are the ones, I mean, there was no energy. There was some high, when they made a good shot, it was like whatever. But again, they felt the pressure. I think Colin felt a lot of pressure. I mean, these guys were driving at him and he pops them up here and there, and we all do that, but it was way more than normal. Yep. And Ben, I saw Ben miss some routine dinks that he never misses. Yeah. So just kind of, I know that they were just frustrated there. So that's what we saw.
I will say, I do want to give a quick shout out to Gabe Tardio and my boy Garrett Whitehead. They were the 24 seed this tournament and actually made it to the quarterfinals.
Made it to the quarters. So this is definitely and both of those.
Do you know who Garrett Whitehead is?
No, but they're both they're young, right?
Yeah, they're both like 16 years old.
Yeah, so we have some amazing talents coming through the ranks especially as teenagers. So shout out to them. Yeah. But yeah, Dylan Fraser, JW. I'm happy for them.
I actually called it with Michael Lloyd that JW and Dylan were going to win this one against Matt and Riley. We called it.
Yeah.
Before it happened.
That's really, really cool.
And they won in 3 straight.
Caden Niemoff, you played here. You played Alex Newman and Rob Cassidy?
I did. I played my normal partner. I know.
Okay, lost that one close, 11-7, 11-9.
Yeah. A little tough, I think.
Okay, and then this one.
2 different things.
The local boys to Arizona, Nico Montoya and Michael Lloyd. I don't know if you saw this.
I did. Well, actually, kind of. I was playing when they were playing, but.
Okay. But, so Nico Montoya, shout out to you, man. I know you've been here. I know we hit a couple times here. He's really gotten really good. And Michael Lloyd, I haven't played him before, but I've seen his game.
Michael's great as well.
He's definitely, They definitely played well and took a game off of a stacked Jordan Tellez. So.
Yeah, and actually, if you go up,
Pesa
and Craig actually played together up here.
Oh, did they?
They did. They won their first.
Shout out to Pesa Teoni and Craig Johnson from AZ, and then they did. They got to play Matt Wright and Riley, and they kind of did not challenge him much there.
Yeah, not quite
So
the performance that they were looking for, but
interesting. Okay, so that is a big upset there. Obviously, Ben Johns, and his brother getting upset in the second round was a big one there. We're gonna hop right into mixed doubles pro. Here we go, mixed doubles pro, and we got
talk of the tournament, Lacey Schneemann.
yeah. But let's start off with the gold. Shout out to the bro and sis duo, Georgia Johnson, JW. Georgia, we've seen her game skyrocket over the past 6 months, I would say, or so. And
those are literally my little siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, I called their mom.
Okay. Well, hey, that's what it is. So.
She calls me son.
All right.
So you guys know.
So JW and Georgia, with the gold, Lacey Schneemann and Tyson McGuffin. That's one I think we did not see coming.
Making his back-to-back appearances in the gold medal match for mixed, man.
Yeah, so Lacey
on a tear.
Lacey's there, Andrea Coop and Ben Johns for bronze. So again, a big. I don't know if I would say big. I think you would still have to put Ben Johns here to win this, but
for sure.
But not by a large margin. So let's see, they beat Lindsay Newman and Eric Lang. The Johns, Ben Johns and Andrew Coop beat. Let's see here.
That was actually Colin Johns and Callie Smith versus Ben Johns and Andrew Coop.
So he beat his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then they lost against Tyson and Lacey Schneemann. So really interesting there. Tyson, I just think he just played solid all throughout. And I'm telling you, did Lacey? I mean, she's just getting better and better, or what? What, Caden? What's the story?
She had a hell of a weekend. I think she is getting better and better. I mean, she's made appearances in the championship for the New York Hustlers and MLP. This is a girl that literally, I think last year, I was like, "Hey, do you want to play some tournaments together?" And she was like, "Yeah, let's find one." And now I barely even get to talk to her because she's basically a celebrity. But no, I'm just kidding. But she's super sweet.
Yeah,
really good player. I've actually known her for the last couple of years, and golly, I mean, she's gotten better and better and better each tournament I've seen her in.
So let's look at McGuffin's and Schneemann's run here. Look at this. Michelle Escovel and Pablo Tejas actually almost beat him first round.
Almost ruined that.
12-10 in the third. Mm-hmm. And then Schneemann and McGuffin go through Jesse Irvin and Jade Olivier. Mm-hmm. And they go through Anna Bright and James Ignatowicz. That is huge wins. And then they beat Ben Johns and Andrew Coop. So it's just...
I mean, that's 4 matches, but those probably felt like 9 matches because those all were pretty intense matches.
Look at this mix.
Yeah.
Gosh, the pro mix is tough.
Pro mix is tough, man.
And again, Elise Jones and Riley Newman play together.
That was a new partnership.
And then they
got knocked down by the Johnsons.
Lost pretty handily.
1 match away from the gold
to the Johnsons. So shout out to the bro and sis, the Johnsons. Really,
actually, one person who made an appearance this weekend in pro mixed doubles was YouTuber David Dobrik. That was pretty funny. He actually had a really sick behind the back in one of his matches, but he did go 2 and out. So
okay. So next and last but not least, there was no singles in this tournament. We already talked about that, which is really interesting. Last but not least, for sure, is women's doubles pro. Shout out to Lucy Kovalova and Callie Smith for gold, Andrea Coop and Anna Bright for silver, and Yana Greskina and Lauren Stratman for bronze.
Yeah.
And I think without Anna Lee Waters here, I mean, any of these matches could have gone either way. I think I don't know who would you put as the favorite here with Anna Lee being gone, Kaden?
I mean, if you asked me who I would have put my money on, I probably would have said Andrea and Anna.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's weird because Lucy and Callie, every time I put money on them, they've let me down. But every time I haven't said anything, they've won. So I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're not good. I'm honest. I mean, I know they're good. I'm just confused as to what the heck is going on. But they've had tournaments where things have been wide open because Anna Lee wasn't there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to take Lucy and Callie. And they lose in the second round. But hey, they were the 1 seed this time. and it looks like for the most part they kind of strolled through everyone, except for till they got to the final. The final looked actually
What's interesting here, Ed or Wright, Jesse Irvin, they withdrawed. I wonder if someone got hurt there. Hopefully they're okay. But this is the one where Ansbury and Jill Braverman actually beat Lacey.
Correct.
And also Lena, and look at this, 11 ended up forfeit.
Yeah, ended up winning it because the paddle got disqualified.
Wow, just really crazy. So, anyways, that's really interesting.
Wow,
look,
Andrea and Anna had quite an easy day on Saturday too. They gave up 7 points in their first match. They gave up 5 in their next, and they gave up 11 in their next, and then they were in championship Sunday.
Yeah. So really, really good. I don't know what else to say here, but the women's is getting tougher and tougher.
Oh, for sure.
And Hurricane Tyra Black, that's a tennis player, played with Georgia. Look, they took out Lindsay Newman and Michelle Esquivel.
Actually asked her to play North Carolina with me.
What did she say?
I have a partner.
Okay, so Caden's trying to pick up a mixed doubles.
I like mixed, man. Ever since I started playing Arizona Pickleball League, man, I love mixed now.
Yeah.
I want to play mixed instead of play singles.
There you go. Well, it's fun. Mixed is fun.
Maybe I should call back, give a call to Old Faithful.
Who's that?
Annalie Waters.
Anna Lee. Yeah, Anna Lee.
The goat of all mixed partners. I mean, no, well, like I said, we have a tournament history together. We're literally undefeated together.
Yeah, Anna Lee might.
Can Ben and Anna Lee say that they're undefeated together? I don't think so. But I can say that with Anna Lee because it's true.
Yeah. Hey, small sample size, but
still.
Okay. So that's that little celebrity outing here. We're going to kind of just show you a celebrity outing pic here.
Oh, look at those two fellas.
We got JW, double gold medalists to be exact.
Double crown.
We got that double crown. Look at Kaden Nemeth with him. I don't know why his eyes are closed. Maybe this allergy season or something like that. What we got going on here?
I mean, I think I caught him while he was taking a nap or something. Not actually, but J.W. Johnson, man. The guy's
look at that hairy chest, though.
The guy's a complete stunner.
What in the world?
You know what I mean?
Wow.
I think that's his
just his stank
face.
Face.
That's his what's that movie? Zoolander.
Oh,
that's Magnum.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
JW. I've met him a couple of times. I know you talk to him a lot, but he's a funny, interesting guy.
He's a funny kid, man.
Yeah.
I do love
what is his personality like? He's just quirky kind of guy, huh?
Very quirky.
Yeah.
Doesn't say a whole lot, but I will say he does like to mention how he thinks he should be big brother because he's bigger than me, but then I remind him that I'm stronger than him. And then we like to, mess around where he tries to grab my forearms and then I'm just stronger than him and faster than him. So I'm just I grab his arm and then he tries to escape. And then I just put him in a different type of arm lock.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we, he likes to compete for big brother in the family, but I quickly kind of, push him down and say, hey, no, I'm big brother. You're just a little kid. Get out of my way. But in the family, I will say he gets all the love for being the better pickleball player. Yeah. But he's a good kid. He probably could use a shower and maybe some hair gel every now and then, and maybe some chapstick.
Maybe some interview advice,
and maybe a razor for his chest and his nose.
Oh man.
But he did shave his face that day, so he's got that going for him. But now you can kind of see the butt chin. So
yeah, I
don't know. If I were JW, well, I guess if I were JW's real brother, I guess I would give him a little bit more advice. But that's just me. I mean, look at me. I'm totally not shaved right now, and I look like I have dirt on my face. But here I am.
Yeah, you're falling off too.
So I can't really say much. Look at my hat. It's disgusting. It looks like.
We've gotten comments on that, by the way, too, the wash your hat, Kaden. So think about that next
time. That's why I wore a different hat today. Okay. But yes, I know. I agree. It looks like I dropped my hat in dog turd and picked it back up. And then Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So J-Dub, congratulations to you, buddy. Double gold. Really, really cool. And again, how old is he, by the way?
20.
Okay, 20. So
21. I don't 21.
new faces of pickleball. I don't know. Will we see J-Dub continue to dominate and get better and better and really push Ben Johns to the limit? We will see. But J-Dub has definitely got all the tools.
Oh, for sure.
To dominate. And
for sure.
let me ask you this. I didn't see many of his matches this weekend, but is he attacking off the bounce yet?
Oh,
He's really not, huh?
He doesn't.
Still.
He doesn't attack a whole lot off the bounce.
That is so crazy.
But
that is so insane.
But I mean, his roll is so good.
No.
Like a
Yeah, I understand
dink in
that.
the air. It's just like.
But,
I mean, he could definitely add it.
Yeah, we all know that J-Dub has the weird hinge thing, hinged wrist
There we go.
in the middle of as he takes his forehand in the middle. But J-Dub, if you're listening to this, just add a forehand speed up off the bounce. It's very simple.
It's
I don't
funny,
even have to teach you. You already know how to do it. I just think you should do it more.
He uses it in singles all the time.
Yeah.
But in doubles, though, I don't know.
I don't know, dude. Maybe you talk to him, dude.
He just uses his really long,
Tell
hairy arms and just gets them
Dude,
in the way and takes that
Just
ball in the
initiate
air.
that hands battle, J-Dub. Your hands are already top. So
I guarantee you, if he tried speeding up off the bounce, he would also be very successful.
yeah, it's just so I don't know. That's my only critique, J-Dub. Get this, without the off the bounce forehand speed up, JW is winning gold. So with it, maybe he's saving that. Maybe it's in the bag. Like
Who knows,
I don't even need to speed up.
Doesn't
against
even
these
need to
guys.
use it until he really needs to. You
So-
know what I mean?
Yeah. Anything else, Caden?
No, I thought this tournament was actually a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next tournament in Newport Beach. And
And then
we have a new segment today.
Okay, we have a new segment, and I don't know. Leave a comment below if you have some interesting ideas for us. But we got I call this the Briones Pickleball topspin wheel. Like that?
I do.
And we have some things on the wheel. This is a wheel like you would get on a game show and things like that. So we'll see where it lands. And last segment of the day, just as a little, just a little improv here.
Do we know what's on here? Okay.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Go
Well,
ahead.
you might have to explain some of the rules
Yeah,
for
I
me too.
might.
So
I might. I mean, this is kind of off the cuff here. So, Kaden, why don't you give it a whirl?
All right,
Good
here we go.
whirl here. Oh my goodness.
that was well.
Would you rather?
Would
here?
you rather?
Okay. So I'm gonna. So Kaden, would you rather get hit in the chest by a Matt Wright overhead, or a Ben Johns swing volley high forehand
Where do I get hit on Ben's shot?
on the chest?
Oh, in the
Would you rather get hit on the chest by Matt Wright's overhead or Ben Johns high forehand up here where he takes a full swing?
Probably Matt. It's overhead.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I don't know.
That would suck either way.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I played baseball, so I've been hit by baseballs harder and faster than
Yeah.
a little wiffle ball to the chest. Like, obviously, I'd be like, oh god, but like at the end of the day, I'm just getting like a little red mark and maybe like a little bruise on my chest compared to like some of the bruises that I've gotten getting hit by pitches in baseball. So
That's so funny. Yeah. So for those of you just listening, there's a little spinning wheel here. We're just having a little fun here.
should we do 2 of these today?
Yeah. Let's do another whirl. Go
Okay,
ahead.
here we go.
Go ahead, Kaden. All right. Last one here. Oh, funny story.
Okay.
So Kaden, it could be pickable. It could be non-pickleball related, but Kaden's going to tell us just a little funny story that he had either growing up or on the pickleball court. I'm leaving it up to you.
Ooh.
Let's tell a good story to the viewers here, and then we'll end it on this.
Okay. I actually do have a funny growing up story. So I would say growing up, I was a pretty good kid. I never actually got called to the principal's office once in my life of going to
hard to
school.
believe. Very hard to believe.
I know. I don't come off as that kid, but that's I don't know. I was good. I was a good student. Anyways.
Okay.
One day there were 2 kids in my class, and one kid was named Kagan, and the other kid was named Michael. And Kagan actually jabbed Michael in the head with a pencil.
Like bleeding?
Like stabbed him in the head with a pencil. And so Michael got so upset that he bit him.
Okay.
So the 2 boys got sent to the principal's office.
Yeah.
Now,
What kind of school is this, dude?
It's just elementary school, man. Kids were crazy. I don't know.
All right.
I went to school in San Francisco.
Oh, that explains it.
But when the principal had to call Kagan's parents, he called the parents and said, "Hey, your son stabbed a kid with a pencil, and he got bit in return. So when you come pick him up, he'll get out. You'll need to come pick him up, a little bit after school."
Yeah. Yeah.
So no big deal. I just got out of class, and I just kind of waited like 30 minutes for my dad to show up because he thought he was gonna, have to go to the principal's office. But I was just waiting on the first floor. So I actually, like 30 minutes later, saw my dad walk into the principal's office, and I was like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Son, come with me really quickly." So we went outside.
What?
And he was like, "How's your day today, son?" And I was like, "Oh, it was good."
Normal.
I was in first grade, man. I was like, just a normal another day, man. I don't know. I had pot stickers for lunch. I don't know. Yeah. And he was like, "Well, did anything happen while you were in class today?" And I was like, "No, not really." And he was like, "Nothing happened with any other kids? You didn't get upset with anybody or do anything?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Okay, you didn't happen to get in any arguments or fights with any kids named Michael?" And I'm like, I don't know where this guy's going with it. So I'm just like, no, I don't. Man, normal day.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Normal day, yeah.
And my dad was very big when I was a kid about telling the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like my dad was more of the dad that was like, if you tell, like my dad would always say, the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
So maybe if you did something bad but you told the truth, there wouldn't be as big of a consequence. But if you lied.
Yep. It's actually how I train my kids.
Yeah, right. And my dad would say that every time, "Son, the truth will set you free." And I'd be like, and so he said that to me, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, I got a call from your principal today." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Well, I heard that you did something to another kid." And I was like, "I didn't do anything." And he was like, "Now, Caden, what did I tell you about lying? I don't appreciate you lying to me." And my dad never actually beat me, but his way of reprimanding me for me lying or for me misbehaving was I had to put my hand out, and he would say, "Put your hand out. Do you want 5 really hard slaps or do you want 10 medium hard slaps?" And I would say, and I'd be all nervous. I'd be like, "Well, 5 is less, so 5 really hard ones." And then he would, smack our hands. And he's like, "Son," he's like, "don't make me put your hand out." And I was like, "Dad, for what? I didn't do anything."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, that's it. Put your hand out."
Oh,
right?
No.
So I'm like in my school hallway, and I'm like,
my
I'm like my hands shaking. I'm like, oh my God. And my dad used to do this thing where he'd go like this and wind up a little bit. And as he would start to smack, we would move our hand and be like, "Oh, don't smack," because that doesn't count,
Yeah.
And right as he's about to give me my first one, we just hear footsteps running down the stairs and into the hallway.
Oh my God.
And we just hear, "Mr. Nemeth, Mr. Nemeth." And my dad pauses and he's like, "Yes." And they're like, "We are so sorry. We called you earlier saying that, your son had gotten bitten by Michael and stabbed Michael in the head with a pencil. We are so sorry. We called the wrong parent. We actually were talking about this kid named Kagan, not Caden." And my dad was like,
gosh.
"Hey, son, how was your day? Come on, let's go get some ice cream."
Oh my God. So you were Caden was that close away for getting those 5 smacks.
I was going to get a beat down, but
That's funny, man.
yeah, I almost got accused of something I didn't do. So yeah, that would be probably my funny story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that
To this day.
till this day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now you're for sure there's gonna be no confusion on names.
No.
From now on.
No, although my dad does
Yeah.
call me Mackenzie every now and then, which is my sister's name. So,
Interesting.
yep, he gets a little confused still every now and then. But yeah,
That's
I did
funny.
get my life saved that day.
Awesome.
And yeah, what could have been?
All right. Good story, Caden. For the viewers out there, yeah, give us some interesting ideas what to add on this spin wheel to kind of further enhance what we're doing here about pickleball. We maybe answering pickleball questions, telling pickleball stories, or just things like that.
There are a lot of good ones on here, though.
Yeah. So
I mean,
we'll save that for next time. But again, for the viewers out there, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends. The best pickleball podcast in the industry if you want to improve your game. Me and Caden are here for you.
that's right.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.